Hello guys, how are you guys doing? This is Bonnie's Blue Creations and I'm Bonnie. And tonight I am going to do, guess what, another shovel pour. That's right. Just trying to perfect that technique a little bit more. Don't know if I ever will. And tonight I'm pouring on just a level 1, just a Artist Loft from Michaels. It's a 14 by 18 inch canvas, and it's a pretty good size for this. I am going to be pouring my base of, this is actually a dioxazine purple mix. I've got to look and make sure. I might have to thin it out just a hair, but it is a mix of dioxazine purple, and that is by Liquitex Basics. But it also has just a touch of Holbein Luminous Violet, just a little bit that I had left over from one of my last pours, and some, I think it was some DecoArt Metallic Purple, I think. Yeah. But anyway, there wasn't much of those that I added to this, but you can definitely see the purple. And we all know dioxazine purple, dioxazine violet, however you want to call it, it dries really dark. So I just added a couple more things to it, and maybe we'll get some shimmer. So I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to pour my paints into my cup. The paints I'm going to be using tonight are Golden's Light Phthalo Blue. I have a mixture of Golden's Cobalt Teal mixed with some DecoArt Metallic Teal. I have some Artist Loft Metallic Purple. That's what I added in that, okay? So, so take that back. That's not going to be layered in the cup. That's just part of what was layered in that dioxazine. And then we have some Lucas Krill Indigo, and of course we have some 24 karat gold layered in my cup. So we got all that layered in. I'm going to go ahead, put down my base coat, and we will be back in just a flash. Okay, so I'm going to, isn't that a pretty base? It's a shame it doesn't just dry exactly that color. So I need to pour a little bit of this base coat in my shovel so that I am sure that the paint in the shovel will come out the way it should, very easily, and flow out of the shovel. This is a shovel that we used to use for cleaning out our wood stove. I got a little goober in there. We don't want goobers. So yeah, so that's, oh, I'm sorry, I just shook that entire stand I have. My setup here is not the greatest. So let's just start with layering, doing a ring pour into my shovel. There we go. And of course I probably got way too much paint. Okay, there's my paint. Now, I'm right-handed. I got to swing it around. I like to get it kind of level down there before I pour it on. And here we go. Sometimes I end up doing like a ribbon pour. I see a lot of air bubbles in this. I had a problem with my last pour with the air bubbles. This little thing going on here. My shovel. pretty paints. I'm going to give this a torch. My cup. If I have leftover paint in my shovel and or my cup, or both, I usually scrape them out and I just mix them up as drippings along with maybe what's off of from the edges of my canvas, and I reuse that. So let's torch. Let's get rid of some bubbles. The white that I've layered in between, not all my colors, but in between most of my colors, is a titanium white, and it does have a little bitty dollop of DecoArt satin enamel. And here's another little goober. I don't know what's going on with goobers lately. Goobers! That probably would have went off anyway, because I'm going to tilt it. I'm going to tilt it this way, so whatever happened there is going to go off. But I am wanting to leave a good amount of negative space. So let's make sure we've got air bubbles out so the white dots aren't showing up. Which also means I might get a few cells between the Floetrol and the DecoArt satin enamel. We'll see what happens. I like trying this technique out. It's kind of fun, you know, just playing with the shovel or dustpan, whatever you might be using. Okay, I'm going to tilt now. And by the way, I always leave a little extra of the base for touching up my sides. Okay, I'm going to tilt down that way first. Remembering that I want to leave some negative space. So I'm going to bring that back now. And that base coat is going to push it back somewhat. So this craziness down here, I kind of want to run it off because I wasn't happy about that. So we're gonna, yeah, here we go. Now we can take the composition back down again. I'm really hoping I'm in frame. I can't tell. I'm gonna go that way a little bit. Now this way, some. A lot of blues. But that's kind of what I was wanting, was a lot of blue. Okay, now I'm going to go back down. The last one that I did, if you saw that one, had a lot of purples in it. Okay, now I ran a lot of that base coat off. I'm going to bring it back down again. Bring it back. I am getting some cells. Of course, when you're using metallics, and especially the 24 karat gold, the extreme sheen, you pretty much know you're going to get some cells out of that. So far, I'm liking the composition. I think we're doing okay with that. Set it down for a second, take a look at it, see what we've got happening. I'm going to spin it around because from your point of view, your angle, this is how it would be, pretty much be hanging, you might say. I got to pop some more air bubbles, definitely. I mix this paint up much earlier. And you know, when you're doing thick paints, it takes time for those air bubbles to settle down. So yeah. So I do see quite a few air bubbles in this we need to torch out. When I do that, we're going to find out whether or not we're going to get some more cells out of this. Wiping my hands off a little bit so my torch doesn't get any nastier than it is. Okay. Lot of air bubbles. My goodness. How does this happen to me? My last pour, same thing. Is that this torch? I don't like that torch. Let's see if this little baby, this is my oldest torch here. Let's see if I can get anything going. Well, nope. Okay, third time's a charm. Let's hope. Gonna probably have to get rid of that old torch. You know, these are like throwaways, kind of like your Bic lighters. Why aren't those cells, those air bubbles going away? I can see them. I love the color of this base. I'm really hoping some of that shimmer comes through. I know it seems like I'm torching it a lot, but I really do have quite a few air bubbles. Okay, okie doke. Let's see this guy. Sometimes you just have to pop them with the thingy. Oh, but you know what? I think that was another tiny little goober. I must have had some dried paint on the edge of my container or something that's getting caught up. Sometimes just the old skewer will do it. But I'm seeing these little air bubble dots. I am liking the composition. I'm seeing, you know, some pretty good sized cells from that 24 karat gold. So we're going to get a good shimmer on here. I like that ghost kind of effect down here that it does going into the negative space. It doesn't make it such a harsh line. Although, you know, ring pours, you need to have the integrity of the ring intact. But because of that 24 karat gold, we're going to get some cells up in through there. And I think that DecoArt Metallic, which is also in the base, so we're going to give it one more torch here. I'm seeing them popping. They're little tiny air bubbles, and I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to get a lot more cells too. Yeah, I think so. I like the colors. I'm glad I ran that whole menagerie off up here, even though, because what was happening was we were getting this great big huge cell. We're getting another one over here too. So I don't know how this is going to end up. This might not be so great, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So let me go around. Let me pull off my drips and touch up my sides that might be need touched up, which is another reason you keep some of the base coat, because even though your sides might be covered really good, I've found that as I'm, especially on a darker base, you get little smudges from where you're holding the side to tilt it. So, and I am seeing that. And what you can do is basically just, you know, tap into the drips and touch up with your finger. Don't necessarily have to just run it all down the side. So let me do that. Let me touch up my sides and we'll come back and see what we've got right now, okay? Make sure that you're in frame. Be back in a sec. Well, it seems to be looking pretty good here for us. Excuse me. Oh, frog in my throat. A lot of blue. My last pour was a lot of violet and purple. But of course, naturally, like I said, I was going for the blues in this one. I'm going to take what's left in my shovel. And this is my little bee spatula. And I'm going to pour it right down into this little cup. I like saving leftovers. So many times I can use them again as like a base paint. And lately it seems like all my drips and scrapings seem to end up into like a lavender color. Then I also try to scrape up what's on this is actually, I have like a freezer paper down or parchment paper. If you let it dry on there, you can certainly use the drips for jewelry and stuff. I know several of the YouTube artists do that. I don't make jewelry. I've not tried anyway. Not saying that I would never give it a try, but because I know some of these skins end up being just beautiful when I see them on my Lola Veffy mat. But this time I have the parchment paper down, so my Lola Veffy mat does need some cleaning though. I will say that. So yeah, we've got some pretty little cells in there. I was just scraping up some cells from up above the canvas here. That was as far as the drippings went. So that is a lot of dioxazine violet that I'm putting into this cup. So I know that this cup is going to end up very dark if it's eventually used as a base coat for a future pour. So yeah, that's what I do. I like to conserve. I repurpose a lot of things too, like my creamer bottles and stuff for mixing like my base, my pouring mediums and leaving that in there, that sort of thing. So okay, let's see. We've got this big old cell that finally is kind of like going away. We've got this one going on. We've got a lot of little ones going through here from the 24 karat gold. I see some of these little white dots are from the air bubbles. And then we've got this little ghost down here. Yeah, kind of going down into the base coat down there. So I find that to be very pretty. I like that. We'll see what happens when it dries, because this dioxazine purple is going to dry so dark that that might show up a little bit better, or it might show up more ghostly. We'll see. So we're going to let this develop a little bit more. I don't know if I got any more. Oh, geez, so pizza. We've got so many little tiny air bubbles. Just hate that when that happens. I'm going to have to start mixing up my ring pour paints the day before, because it's so thick. It takes a while for those bubbles to settle down. So, and I don't want to scorch the paint. I don't want to do that. And that can easily be done. So we'll come back, we'll let this sit for a while and come back maybe in about a half hour and see what we've got. Be back shortly. Hey guys, we're back. And there she is in all her glory. I'm really liking these pearls that popped up from that 24 karat gold. And we've got some little cells developing here and there throughout. That got a little bit crazy, I think, and then the 24 karat gold outlined it. We've got a lot of shimmer in this. That's good. So we'll bring you down in just a second or two to see the shimmer in it, do a little flyover, turn off these studio lights. In the meantime, I'm going to just show you, this is the pour we did last night with the purples. And there's a lot of purple and a lot of violet. The Holbein Luminous Violet is what is really standing out in that. Those Holbein paints really are highly pigmented. So we've got the Holbein, we've got some extreme sheen in there, that jadeite. We've got some pretty light phthalo blue from Golden in there. So there's no 24 karat gold in here, but there is a mix of, I know that there's some, I think some DecoArt bronze metallic, and also some, I'm not sure if it was golden. I'm sorry, I hit the little stand here. You're shimmering on me. Anyway, so this was last night's pour. It's dry, and it's got some shimmer from the metallics and the bronze. So that's kind of nice. I think it'll look really good once it's varnished. I rarely resin my paintings anymore. I don't know. I have to wear that mask, and you know, it's pretty toxic, and it's messy. But it's a beautiful finish if you get it right. So in the meantime, I'm varnishing. I'm using either Josanya varnish or the not the triple thick, the Minwax polyurethane. So, okay. So let's put this up, and then I'm going to bring you down so we can take a good look at this. Do a little fly over here. So excuse the studio lights because they are annoying. Until I can get a better lighting situation, that's what we've got. Studio lights and ring lights. So yeah, we've got some nice cell action going down there. And you can see like that ghostly, and those, I'm not sure if that's a cell reaction, like a viscosity cell reaction, where the base paint is coming up through the shimmer. Not quite certain. I guess I really won't know until it's completely dried and we see what's happened. So yeah, so this is, I think it's very pretty myself. We've got a bunch of little baby cells developing. So let me turn off the studio lights and let's see what we got with just the flat. Okay, so the studio lights are off, and this is what we have. I can see, I don't know if it's going to show up very well on here. I don't know. But we've got some really good shimmer coming through, even on the base coat. If this would, there we go. You can see it. See that shimmer? Yeah. We've got viscosity cells coming through along the edge there, where it looks actually kind of ghostly from that base paint. We've got some really pretty pearl cells coming through from those metallics, 24 karat gold. And there is a lot of shimmer in this painting, in this pour. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, so there it is. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this whole video. I truly appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all take care.